Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to make a pastel-y, pinky, purpley with a little kind of hint of bluey Valentine's nail art design. We do have some blooming roses today. We've got Pink Me Up and B-Day Bash. So we've got a pink there and a purple. Then I've got this like bluey purpley undertone colour, which is called Glorious. And then we've got Ballerina as our background nude shade. So we're going to do one full nail of that pink. And then the rest of the four are going to be in the shade Ballerina. So that's going to work as our base. And then later on, we're going to do all of our hand painted nail art on top. We do have some stamping today. I believe it's all from one stamping plate. It's one of the Moyu London Care Bear ones, but they came out with a Care Bear Valentine's one, so we're going to use that one today, but we're not actually going to use any of the actual Care Bear images, just the little bits around it on that plate. So here I'm just doing the first layer. Of course, remember guys, everything I usually do like the second layer off camera. Don't want to be boring you guys with the exact same steps on the camera all the time, so just one coat on camera, the rest is done off camera. Once that's cured, we're going to start working on some stripes. If you're not very good with stripes, I highly recommend assessing what kind of brush you're using, because I noticed that the short ones are really hard to do like really nice long lines with. So if you've got yourself a long brush, or you have one but you just like don't really use it, try it out because it really makes a difference. And you know, my lines aren't very straight anyways, but it's kind of a good set to try your lines out in a way, because we were stamping on top of it. So even if they're ever so slightly wonky, or you know, maybe one little corner is a bit thicker than the other, it's not the end of the world, because we're kind of going to cover it up. This is just going to work as our background. We're going to cover that stuff up. So we're doing like a bit of a like different shade of, well, different colors stripes next to each other. So I'm starting off with the darkish kind of bluey shade in the middle. Then I'm doing purple on the right hand side, then I'm doing pink, and so on. So it's bluey, purple, pink, bluey, purple, pink, and you basically want to repeat that, I guess. I keep wanting to say pattern, but it's not pattern, like that. Oh, there you go, that order of colours that I'm doing. Of course, you can switch it up if you wanted to. And then it's also kind of up to you how much of a space you want to leave in between. I wasn't really being too fussy on it, so I just kind of, wherever my brush landed, I just did the line, especially just knowing, like keeping in mind that I know I'm going to kind of cover it up, so I didn't kind of worry too much about being too perfect about it. So at this stage, I'm only doing the lines one coat. If you were a bit unsure or felt like your colour isn't as opaque as you might want it to, then of course go in with your second. Usually stuff like that, stuff that I usually really don't like doing, I try to avoid the need of doing two coats, because it's just the biggest nightmare having to do another one. So if I try to avoid it sometime by doing a bit more of maybe a thicker layer or something on the nail. So whilst the rest are curing, on this pinky one, I've just applied some base coat, and I'm currently digging for my ombre brush because I love using it all the time. And then I'm going to place down some purple matte hex glitter in, like, I was attempting like an S shape, but it ended up basically being like a straight line down the center of that nail. So, you know, so be it. So I'm trying to mix up some of the fine with the larger hex shapes around the nail, but kind of mainly keeping it in that center. I did want like the sides to be left pinkish, so I don't also want to go too overboard with that purple, especially because right next to it we've got these cute little hearts, and they look so cute, especially later when you matte top coat these. They really pop then, which is nice. I was a little concerned with whether or not these purple hearts were gonna kind of disappear because of the pink background, and the pink background is very similar in color to the heart, but I actually was pretty happily impressed. Like I feel like it's still, you know, I mean, there's always obviously room for improvement, that the hearts could have popped even more than they had, but they were still like a lot more popping than I was expecting. Okay, now this is the part that may take a little bit of time, so this bit is a bit more sped up than usual, but I'm doing half a heart with the rhinestone glue gel right now on one of the nail, and then repeating it on the other. You're doing the other side of the heart. And at this stage it's kind of rough because you can move about the crystals, so don't put too much pressure on, like, you know, perfecting it, because it doesn't really matter too much. Here I'm trying to see if they're roughly the same. Then grab yourself some crystals. I opted for the same shapes, but if you wanted to be fancy or jazz it up, you can, you know, switch up the sizes and make it look a bit more, you know, extra looking, I guess. You can incorporate some caviar beads too, which will really elevate the design as well, but I kept it short and sweet today, nothing too crazy. And I went for kind of like, I'd say kind of medium size. I feel like I could have gone smaller, Any larger than that would look kind of too weird to me. So I kind of like that shape, but maybe a little bit smaller wouldn't be like too bad either. So I'm kind of going to move about the crystals and try and make them as straight as possible. Then I'll pop that into the lamp. Now I'm going in obviously with the other side, and again, once I do this one though, before I pop into the lamp, I will compare it to the other nail and then straighten anything up or move anything around just to try and make it as similar to one another as possible. And then I'll pop that one into the lamp. So once those two come out, we're ready to do our blooming roses. And guys, it's the most easiest thing, in my opinion anyways, that you can ever do for Valentine's. So I've got some Nails blooming gel, and I'm applying it only in the heart part, on both nails of course, but I think I do one at a time, because you have to remember, when you apply regular, just gel polish into the blooming gel, it will start instantly blooming, so you're kind of against some time. So I'm going in with the purple first, and I'm doing these like swipes, like I'm really not trying to be perfect, just doing these, I don't know how to explain it. I'm hoping the video kind of shows you guys what I'm trying to do there, or what I'm doing. And then you just want to repeat that, and then you basically just leave it until you're happy with the bloom and it's looking like a rose. So the more you leave it, remember, the more it's going to bloom. So bear that in mind, because there has been an occasion or two where I left it blooming for a little bit too long and it just became a mush of nothing. So don't leave it for too long. But there's our one rose. And then to tie in the other colours, I thought it would be kind of cool to switch out the colour. So on this one, we're going to go with the darker bluey shade and repeat the exact same process again, but on this side. So exact same situation, start in the middle and with these smaller strokes, and then you kind of increase your strokes as you go further away from the center. And if there's any areas that bloomed a bit too much and it's kind of losing the color, feel free to go back in with that gel polish and just add it in there, and like it won't ruin anything and it'll look just fine. And that will be that. So once you're happy, pop into the lamp for a cure once it's all looking how you want it to look. Even here, as you can see, I'm kind of going back in and adding things in. But yeah, everything's cured now. So, little fragment of stamping. I sped up the footage but didn't cut it up. So everything I'm doing, you're going to see. On the stamping plate at the bottom, they have these really cute like lined hearts, but they're like all connected, really cute. See? So I wanted like the whole nail full of that. Not sure how I feel about it. It's a bit meh. I feel like maybe we could have switched it up, but you know, it's done now. So I'm going to do a full nail of that. I'm using some Born Pretty stamping polish. I got a pack before on Amazon. I don't even know if that's that accessible on Amazon anymore, but I used to also get it on AliExpress. It's been a very long time since I bought any. I had this moment in time where I was constantly buying them, so I kind of hit this point where I've got just so many that I just haven't had to look into buying anymore recently. So when I come around to buying more stamping polishes, I'll let you know where I'm picking them up these days, but at the moment those were like my past two places where I used to get them. Then on to the next nail, which is going to be the other stripy nail. This stamping plate had this word in, I think it said love ya, if I remember correctly. I can't really see it right now, I was looking away when I was talking. But once I pick it up, I'm going to give it a white border. And it's a really nice little technique there to make the wording stand out. Because if you think about it, if you're going to stamp it as it is right now, it's kind of going to lose it's going to kind of disappear in those stripes. But when you add in that border, it really makes it pop, which I love. And then around, we've got these cute little XOXO. Kind of looks like you know when you've got like cartoons and they're like saying something, that kind of thing. So we're going to stamp that at the top. And then below, they had this, which I'm actually going to re-pick up, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I am. They had this envelope with a little heart in the center, and I liked it too. I was kind of looking for something similar size, so that's kind of what I ended up picking. And again, just so much more, a little bit more of white coloring in the center. I believe this is called reverse stamping, I think, if I remember correctly. And then I'm going to wait for that to dry, because I placed quite a lot of white stamping polish, and if it's way too wet, it's going to smudge and kind of squish everywhere. So whilst I wait, I do like to start cleaning and prepping for the next stage of whatever I'm doing. But actually for this part of the video, all I need to do now is stamp that down and then just top coat the lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and stamp it now, and I actually done it a little bit too soon anyways. When I stamped it, it looked decent, but when I go ahead to top coat, I do actually smudge it a little bit. At the end of the video, I did end up switching that nail out with the other set that I did already, just for the final results to look pretty, but it did smudge ever so slightly, so that's completely my bad. I should have known, but it's very typical of me. I'm filming and I'm like, oh, what's next, and then yeah, I just should have waited. But you notice here, as I'm swiping, it's all kind of smudging down. Look at that. Oh, what a nightmare. What a nightmare. But here are the final results. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I would love to see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.